Welcome 54 golf fans. I can officially actually say that. Like, probably lied the last 144 episodes and said anytime I've ever said we have fans was probably like fudging the truth at least just a little bit. But after being at Live Golf Virginia this past week, and actually meeting people who watch our show, listen to our show, do things like that, thank you. Number one, want to start off the show with that. Especially thank you to the people who stopped me, saw the hat, got yourself a hat, wear it, put it on social media. That's really cool of you. Second shout out, Sports Social Podcast Network. We had like a significant number of downloads. Like we had very few downloads on Spotify prior to joining the network. 2 weeks in, 2 episodes in, and we have a significant number. Ads are running, all that cool stuff. So shout out Europe. I don't know how you're still listening after last week's disaster of a European Open, but here we are. It's U.S. Open week. Defending champion Bryson DeChambeau, of course. The last time the event was played at Oakmont, Dustin Johnson won in 2016. Probably the best 72nd hole ever played in a major to win that one. So
it was only like 4 people under par or something like that. It was some unbelievable stat.
Yeah, I mean, Oakmont is one of the tougher courses, obviously.
As DJ said in his interview.
As DJ
it's
said in his
insane.
interview, it's the hardest course he's ever played in his life. And he won the U.S. Open on it, so good for him. This week is going to be a huge challenge to anybody playing, of course, with the rough. The greens are rolling at like 16, or something like that, some crazy number. So you're going to have to put it in the fairway.
It's accuracy, man. It's going to be all about accuracy. Set yourself up in a fairway to make a second shot. But even there's like a 632-yard par 5. It's like, it's ridiculous. And another, not to cut you off here, but another thing with cool with the YouTube, you got the Brian Bros, Grant, Bryson DeChambeau all playing it pre-U.S. Open, so everybody on a different level gets to see the course ahead of the U.S. Open and see how thick that rough is and see how difficult the placement shots are and how long some of the holes are and fast the greens are. So it's really cool to see it like that. Like Grant said, playing it now, he can't wait to actually watch the U.S. Open and see how these guys attack that course.
I got a ton of quotes, but we'll start with Rory's quote. He played it earlier in the week, or maybe like on the weekend or something like that. And he said he birdied the last 2 holes and shot 81.
Can we talk about this really quick for a second? Like the whole idea that, a bunch of us go to play at a place like Oakmont and you can't find your ball in the rough. Like it's fucking horseshit that we have to go all the way back when anybody that plays in these big tournaments, there are hundreds of people that are looking for their ball the second that it hits the ground and we get fucked.
Right. They get a little flag.
If we hit it right where any other pro hits it.
Yeah. I mean the rough is long enough.
Yeah, those are the rules.
To lose balls, no matter what, you can't find it. You got time limit, you're back. But listen, here's the thing. With golf, there's rules to the game just like every single sport, right? If you travel in basketball, you travel. You don't just get a free pass. So you have to putt everything out. You have to take every stroke, and you have to play by the rules of written golf. Yes, you could go out and play with your buddies and do whatever you want to do.
Right.
It's a whole,
I see you when I raise you.
It's a rabbit hole. Okay, you can go down and have your own opinion, but opinion doesn't matter when you're playing a sport. That's how I feel. So you can bend the rules all you want,
but you're talking about
depending who you're playing with or what you're doing. But
the rule is you have to play your ball, right?
Correct.
So nobody should help you find your ball if it goes in the rough.
Oh, you can when you play. If I play in a tournament, people help. You can help. You can assist. You can help look. And if you don't find it, you have a time limit. You don't find it, you're back on the tee. Simple. How is that not the same thing?
It's not the same
thing. You're talking about
like,
thousands of people looking for your ball. Yeah, they all see where it goes, but if it's out of bounds, it's out of bounds.
Hundreds of people. You got cameras. You got cameras. You got all of these people assisting you finding where your ball is after you just hit it 300 yards. When Joe Schmo goes to play there, he doesn't have that same leg up.
I get it, but
and just the counter argument is to this whole thing that I'm trying to make is that if their roughs are really that tough and you just go a little bit off, the fairway a little bit, you could quite legitimately lose your ball if you don't look hard enough and everything like that. And these guys have all the support in order to help them find their ball. Where if you and I went to play, we're fucked. So
Yeah,
it
but
is.
that's
It
the
is
level
not.
they're on. No, but
It is.
here's the other thing.
But it's not the same. That's what I mean. The rules
I
are
get what
you
you
should
mean.
find your own ball.
But there's also, this is the kind of course, which there's not many out there like this beast, where if you hit your ball and a camera has view of it and there's 6 people on it, you still may not find it, knowing within a 3-foot radius of where it went. It's that kind of course. So I get
And
what you're
that's
saying.
fantastic.
You have a great argument, but I mean, it can go both ways quickly.
I'm glad we started here because this is something I wanted to talk about. Justin Thomas throughout, and I'm becoming a bigger Justin Thomas fan by the day. He threw out the idea that like on Monday, let's just settle the debate. Let's have a 5 handicap, a 10 handicap, an 18 handicap. Let's have Oakmont put us out on the back tees, and let's find out what the actual score is. Now, I'm going to be honest. I'm a 10 ish, right around there. Like if I'm playing 76 to 7,800 yards, there's no way I'm breaking 100 on a 16 stimp meter on the green with slopes like that and rough like that. Because I'm not going to be able to advance the ball when I hit in the rough, right? It's a penalty shot for me. So you're adding, if I hit 7 out of 14 fairways, and that's a really good day. That's 7 penalty shots. So my score immediately goes from, my low score is already at 90 at that point, right? So I'm not breaking 100 unless I make every.
But wouldn't you change the way that you approach playing in order to try and hit the fairways?
Yeah, but so do
easier?
these professionals.
So
This is
do
their
they.
job. This is what they do every single
I know,
day,
but
and they
we
still
also know that
struggle.
professionals take like they're professionals
More
that
chances.
there are professionals that take chances and there are ones that lay up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only gonna get one shot at it. I'm gonna get 18 holes at it. So I'm not gonna go there and hit hybrid, hybrid into a par 4 or something like that for 95 yards. I'm not gonna do that. I got one chance. I'm gonna try to rip one off the tee. If I get it, if it lands in the rough 245 yards away or something like that, and I can only hit it 20 yards, then I'm only gonna hit it 20 yards. I mean, it is what it is.
Did you
I'm not
watch
gonna change.
the Bryan brothers in Granite Oakmont?
I'm not seeing it.
George Bryan hit one a little left. It was about 10 yards off the fairway in the deep rough. He hit a pitching wedge, which is about 158, 160 yards, 155 yards for him. Full swing. It went like 47 yards. Got clean. As clean as you could hit it, 47 yards. Like just insane. And those are good golfers. It's crazy, man. And even Bryson was struggling. Like it's crazy.
I mean, like you said, even with their swing speed, their skill, they're hitting the ball clean every time. They're still having difficulty there. So there's no dream of mine that I'm going to break 100 at Oakmont. That's just not an option. So but I would love to find out what my score would be.
I would
can't
love that.
imagine. I can't imagine I'd shoot 150. I mean, that just seems like way too high. But I mean, I guess it's possible, right? 150.
Listen, golf is just as much mental as physical. If you get a 12 on the first hole because you can't get out of the rough, it could carry on to that second hole and third hole and fourth hole, and you can quickly spiral. I'm not saying 140 is something you can't do. Not only you, me, anybody, any one of us. I mean, it's a mental game too.
I think 150 is the number, the over under for like the regular kind of golfer who can play.
Yeah.
I think
142
anyone
for a 10 or less handicap.
Yeah, I think
You
that's
know?
where you want to shoot. I think you want
Like
to
a
shoot.
like a 2 to 10 handicap should be, it's like 142. The reason I keep going back to YouTube is this is how I'm learning about the course more than just looking at it on TV. So seeing them actually play it, and like there's so many holes too that are not only long, not only rough everywhere that just completely eat your ball, but also a lot of blind shots where they're just like they're all sitting there like, was that good? I have no idea where that is. Where'd it go? What's over? And they're in a huge ditch. And it was dead center of the fairway. It's crazy. And then you got the church pew bunkers, like just so much in play that can really hurt you.
So it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy for Bryson to repeat as U.S. Open champion. And he, in my opinion, and my opinion doesn't really matter, but in my opinion, he made it even more challenging for himself because he has made significant changes to his bag. When I was in Virginia, he pulled out his new irons. We'll get to those in a second. He already announced that he's switching his driver, so he's moving off the crank for this week. He on Sunday, I think Saturday or Sunday in Virginia, he went and had his putter relofted and changed the angle of his putter face a little bit. So he's been tinkering with like his entire bag over the last week. And you would think that you'd want to be as comfortable as possible, going into the U.S. Open. But anyway, I said we get some quotes. Let me tell you exactly what happened because somebody asked him today, what's the biggest difference in the set you're using now compared to the ones used in the past? And here's Bryson's exact words. And this don't make any sense to anybody, but we'll try to break it down. So he iterated on the design of the face. The heel is a little bit fatter on the curvature. My face obviously has some curvature on the iron. So we're just optimizing for the quote gear effect on the heel and on the toe based on the mass properties that are there. Like the heel doesn't gear effect as much in an iron at my speeds. So hitting it on the heel, I've got to be a little flatter. And then the toe has a little bit more roundness on it to account for that out there. And then,
So Bryson.
and he's still going. And then I moved the CG, which I can only imagine is the center of gravity,
Yes, it
out
is.
towards
CG.
the toe, right? I've got such heavy grips and a heavy golf shaft that it moves the center of gravity of the club all the way to the heel. So we try to offset that with that tungsten weight
Said this to
on
a
the toe.
reporter.
Yeah, and then he goes and he finishes up with, "That's very simply what it is." I mean, bro.
Listen, that much tinkering before one of the hardest U.S. Opens. I feel like on Sunday we're either going to say what an idiot for making such a big change at the U.S. Open, or we're going to say he's an absolute genius and it worked for him. So it's one or the other. We'll see.
Well, he almost aced a practice round hole today.
I mean, we can all agree he always comes prepared. So I mean, it just depends on how his on-course play is that day.
I think it's a little far-fetched to call it tinkering. When you put that much engineering and thought and in design and engineering into your clubs, that's not considered tinkering. That's considered perfecting.
Yeah.
Yeah, tinkering is like changing, throwing a 2-iron in your bag and using that instead of
Yeah,
a 3-wood. But yeah, I agree.
Right. When he's moving a 40-gram weight, like a quarter inch on the face or something, that's
and sees a difference.
Right. And he even says, like, he's doing this to optimize. And they asked him about the golf ball because we know he's had issues with the golf ball all for almost a year now. Too much spin, too much draw, all these things that is happening with his golf ball, and he can't find one that he likes. And I guess he's still in this position where the golf ball isn't to his standard, and so the next move for him will be, he even said this, like just having a brand new golf ball that's designed just for him. Basically, that's where he's going. I mean, anyone who's followed Bryson for the past 7 years would know that if anyone was going to have their own golf ball, their literal own golf ball, it was going to be Bryson.
Definitely.
Just the
And
type of player.
fucking crazy people will go and want to buy it to play with it too.
Yeah, you. I mean,
gotta try everything once.
That's fair.
All right. So Jerome, just refresh us here while we have a second. Who did we pick to win the U.S. Open at the beginning? I know who I picked. I picked Bryson. No one has taken that trophy out of his hands.
So the only picks that I have here, I only have one person. I don't have a Liv and everybody else pick. So Aaron, you have Bryson. I have Bryson. Cheech has Bryson, and Jay has Colin Morikawa. Which
what an awful pick!
Very bold.
When was that?
Like, that's a disaster.
That was back in January,
come on, Colin.
February.
I'm going to give you a chance to take that one back, and you can't take Scotty Scheffler. So Jay, I'm going to let you take the Colin pick back if you want.
No. I appreciate it, but stick to my guns. Okay. I hate the pick now, but it stays. Be unfair to change.
Do you have a live pick outside of Bryson?
Let's go, Mr. Career Grand Slam, Phil Mickelson, coming off a hot week. Come on.
Love that.
Did you see that shot he hit? That was basically backwards. I mean, come on. Shot heard around the world, bro. This guy, if he could do that out of the thick grass and play short game where other people might not be able to thrive as much, those extra strokes that they lose and he gains might be the difference. You never know. I'll go with Phil for live. Outside of Bryson, of course.
If I get a live guy outside of Bryson, I'm taking a guy who's like kind of hot under the radar, Mark Leishman.
Qualified, yeah, I'm happy he made it too. He qualified.
He qualified through final qualifying.
He's fired up.
He played well last week. Obviously, he's got a win this year already. Like he didn't have to travel across the world again. He's from the East Coast or whatever. He's not from, but he's from Australia. But he lives in Virginia, Northern Virginia, or whatever. It's not a far way to travel. He's probably played Oakmont before. I know Cam Smith mentioned that he's played Oakmont a bunch, so he probably played with Leash. That's my kind of like under the radar live guy. If I'm gonna pick up, I mean,
You gotta say
if it,
Waco's in the talk too.
I mean, who am I rooting for? Wacko Neiman. You know why? Because that would absolutely be the final nail
I'd be so happy for him.
in the golf rankings conversation. Like
Yes.
just the golf rankings end immediately upon Joaquin Neiman winning a major championship. It's over. Like we can't even talk about them anymore. So that's why I'm rooting for him. It's kind of selfish. His game, I don't know that his game when he's on, of course, his game is one of the top 5 in the whole world. But his
He's like a
misses,
yes.
his
And
misses
he's a
are
bomber.
his misses are too wide. They're too
Yeah.
wide for a course like this. And so I can see him getting into trouble, and I don't want to put the MC on him, but like if I don't know what the odds are, betting odds, but like a Wacko Neiman miscut is probably not a great value because PGA Tour fans probably all betting that, but that could happen pretty easily for him. And he
This
could
is
also win the thing. He could also win the thing by 6 shots, you know.
yeah.
Like,
This is why I like a Phil pick, just because if there's going to be a venue where he could pull it off, you know, I feel like this could be it. Again, based on yes, you need length here because there are some really long holes, but there's also some spots you need to hit. And maybe he's not the most accurate guy. We all know that. He admits to that. But if he can just not have to really push his driver, but can make up for it in the short shots around the green. Because again, those are going to be what you're aiming for, right? Birdies are just a luxury, but you're aiming for par. So if he even on a par 4, if he can get around the green, he already puts himself ahead of a lot of people, you know, just to maintain par. We'll see.
yeah, and that
He could come
part
in last.
scares
Again, this is the
right,
argument. I mean,
right.
I could sit here all
That
day and
part scares
say I think, but that's the beauty of golf.
he could make like no putts outside of like 6, or he could miss all the putts between
Mm-hmm.
6 and 8 feet for the
Which
entire
would take
2
him
days
right out of
and
that.
he'd be out of the game. Yeah, he'll be
Out
out.
of that par conversation.
Um,
Do you have a
I
non-whip guy?
I
Aaron?
knew yeah. No, not really. I mean, again, it's so wide. U.S. Opens are always so wide open, especially courses like this where like again, like we said. Like Scotty Scheffler is probably everyone's pick to win. I mean, he should be everyone's pick to win. But they're playing on Poa annua, and he's never won an event when the greens are Poa grass. And so, is that because his putting was so bad back when we were playing majors in the Northeast, and now his putting has he's gotten a little bit better, a little more consistent with those kind of mid-ish range putts. I don't know. How do you bet against Scotty? I have no idea. I mean, the guy is
Yeah.
unbelievable. So,
I mean, if you only had
we,
one chance to get it right, I mean, he's the guy.
yeah, from PGA Tour, he's the guy. From Live, Bryson's the guy. I would love to see those two guys in the final group. That would be amazing. That's like that's the dream for golf.
Yeah.
Jerome, what do you think your chances are for Ludwig Oberg to win? That's the only guy you ever pick from the PGA Tour.
I was actually going to pick Xander Schauffele. I thought you were going to ask another question.
I was just, it's just, again, the U.S. Open, and we're sitting here like naming guys, but these are the same guys who could literally miss the cut because they can't hit a fairway or they can't make a putt. Like the U.S. Open, again, look, Jay is saying, it's the guy who, it's probably going to be the guy who makes the most pars. It's probably not going to be the guy who makes the most birdies. And so this is how, like Brian Harmon wins the Open. Or whatever.
I think the other way to say that is it'll be the player that makes the least amount of mistakes.
Agreed.
Yeah, because I think that's the same thing.
And is the
trying to
most
get birdie
consistent.
is trying to do too much. You'll get a birdie here and there, but you're gonna also bogey.
Being too aggressive will ruin it.
Yeah,
Bryson.
That's the story of my game. 4 or 5 birdies around and 4 or 5 bogeys around. It just negates everything. I can't put a good below round to go. But hey, it's golf.
Tale as old as time, really.
Really.
Yeah.
Bryson's exact, I don't have his exact quote, but basically what Bryson said was he is an aggressive golfer. He is not necessarily going to dial it back, but he is going to be as aggressive as he possibly can be on this course because of the rough, the greens, and making par being so important. There was like some talk, this is like really weird, and I don't want to go down this road, but the U.S. Amateur event 2 years ago-ish, maybe, or something like that, was at Oakmont, and the rough was up, and some of the fairways were so narrow in the landing areas that the amateurs were playing down the like nearby fairway. Like, so instead of playing down 10, they were playing down 11. Instead of playing down like 6, they were playing down 7 because the area where they could land in 7 was wider than the area where they could land in 6. And somebody mentioned that to Bryson. He's like, I didn't even watch it, but I'm going to go back and take a look, of course. Like any advantage he can have, he's going to take.
Oh yeah.
It'd be interesting to see if he does that. Yeah. I mean, it should be, you know, would you be surprised if Bryson's not in the mix? I guess is my question.
If I had to bet my house, I would say top 5. So yeah, I definitely expect him to be in the mix on Sunday. What was the talk with Bryson's interview? Did he actually hint towards not being on Live anymore, or was that just a way?
I was going to say that. I was going to say that, but we'll go. I mean, I was going to say that for next week, but we can talk about it now. I was going to say it for after his, repeat at the U.S. Open, but he said
well,
the exact.
I saw the interview, and I didn't get what you were getting out of it.
You saw the interview, so you know that.
What did you get out of it?
I got out of it that he's going to work a contract. He likes where Liv's going, and he wants to be the face of it. That's how I saw it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, that's what he said. I mean, he said my contract expires.
You made it sound like he wasn't going to be in Live anymore.
No.
Or were you saying the other way?
I was saying the other way. His contract expired.
Okay, then I misunderstood.
Brooks kind of mushed it, and he was like, well, we're not going to talk about the contract until the end of the contract. That's what Brooks did when they brought it.
That's because Brooks sucks.
But Bryson was fearless about it. He said the contract is up next season. I'm looking to negotiate in the off season. I know what I'm worth. I know what Live offers me. Team golf is the future of golf. He went on to even get more into detail about Crushers GC and how they've been, profitable for two years now. He's got the Reebok deal. He had somebody else on his shirt this week.
I counted 8 different Reebok billboards with Bryson on them on the highways of Charlotte.
He's the face. He's the face of Reebok golf. Yeah, he's the face of Reebok golf. There's no doubt about that. I mean, and the Crushers are obviously by proxy with Bryson wearing his shit to bed and in every single thing he does. Crushers. And he even said, he's like, we can't really talk about the big thing that's coming like a year down the road. And it's mostly to do with probably his contract, with the league and whatnot. Once the extension with the league gets announced, and then I think the next big move is maybe the next guy to sign or the next team to arrive. Something like that. Just throwing out rumors, but there's something behind that for sure. Before we go, I do want to thank the Live Golf Security from Virginia. They were freaking amazing. Like,
surprisingly gentle. Guys, thank you for not beating him up too much.
They were awesome.
You worked the kidneys a little bit. He peed blood for a little while. But surprisingly gentle. Thank you.
Yeah, the marks are all under the neck, so that's good.
They were awesome. They really went out of their way to make sure that access was not an issue. So that was super cool. Of course, the shout out to Cherry, Arlo, Faraday. I wish I remembered the other people who were in the booth in the studio that day. That was a great time. Thank you guys so much. Hopefully we get to do it again when we're out there in Indy. Hint, hint. We'll be there. So
please.
That's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome.
Please make it worth my trip.
We want to hear from you, Europe, and everyone else who watches the show. So tell us who's going to win the U.S. Open. Jerome, wrap us up.
Thank you so much for listening. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, hit the bell in the corner so that you get notifications when we're posting. We're all on all platforms. So please listen, comment below what your thoughts are. And please, it's very important now that we're involved in this network. Please, if you can just take a few minutes, give us a 5-star rating, a little comment below. I know it sounds kind of innocuous, but it really does help. Jay, innocuous means like it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, you were saying we're on every platform. I don't know how to get on half of them, so it'll just be nice. Just let me know what people are saying.
And by platforms, I mean different listening services.
We could have a whole episode on Jay, letting Jay know that we're not just on YouTube only or wherever he watches us. Who the fuck knows? If he even does. True. I don't think he's ever watched an episode. He certainly doesn't subscribe to the channel.
No, I'm not. I don't subscribe to our channel. I have no idea how to the it. I just go out, play golf, and that's it.
He sends me. I love when he sends me.
You're doing great.
I love when he sends me the identical social media post that For Golf account posted from another golf account.
And I just say, "Yo, look at this meme!"
Dude. So happy.
Like that's ours. Okay. We appreciate all the support, guys.
We really do. All right. We've talked your ear off. Enjoy the U.S. Open. We will catch you next week. Thank you so much. Let's get the fuck out of here.